Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to another Irish Stew video. These do get clamored for when they do not appear. I don't quite understand why. These are videos where we look at a whole range of topics, not just books. We usually stick to books on this channel. I'm really sorry, in 2025, I fully intended that we would stick on this channel to books and writing. But I have dropped the ball on the writing part. I mean to do better. I love making those videos, and you unambiguously, just universally love watching them. So, but anyway, we usually stick to books on this channel. But in these Irish Stew videos, I talk about a whole bunch of things, whatever's on my mind. And I missed a couple of days, so we're gonna start back nice and easy, and then we'll see what we can counter for tomorrow. So we're gonna break this down as we usually do. We'll do the world, and then the United States, and then YouTube, and then BookTube, and then me. And for the world, what we are really talking about, there are two stories that are that are on my mind for the world. And what we're really talking about in both those stories is not what you think when you look at them. I'm talking here about this rumored peace deal with Ukraine and Russia, and also the so-called peace deal between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The latter being brokered by Donald Trump, and the former being brokered by Donald Trump in an alleged Thanksgiving meeting with President Zelensky. So, on the surface, we're talking about a rumored peace plan between Ukraine and Russia, which has got everybody on the edge of their seat because Ukraine just suffered a devastating attack. Russia is bankrupted by this war. Both sides in that war are tearing their own guts apart. They are both of them on the edge of destruction. The key difference being that the destruction being wrought on Ukraine was wrought by a territorial aggressor who used tanks and planes to invade sovereign Ukrainian territory. A NATO ally, a free country. Utterly absurd, blasphemous that we're talking about a peace deal. The peace deal is the defeat of Russia. But it's utterly blasphemous that we're talking about anything else. But that's on everybody's mind. And then, of course, Gaza has slipped away from the headlines, which is unfortunate because the so-called peace deal that the Netanyahu government agreed to, they have violated from the first minute. They've killed hundreds, maybe more, maybe thousands of Palestinians, of innocent Palestinian civilians since that so-called peace deal went into effect. Flattened buildings, flattened whole neighborhoods, random recreational mortar shelling, just exactly the kind that the IDF soldiers have been bragging about for 2 years. That has all continued, utterly unabated. Also killing journalists, which is something that the Israeli forces have had to do from the beginning to close the world's eyes to what the true horror of what's going on. All of that has continued. There is no peace in Gaza. Donald Trump sold it that way, put a sticker on it, and then told everybody to look away, and everybody did. And he is going to do the same thing with this peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. He is motivated these days mainly by racism. Actually, I would say probably most of his days, he's been motivated mainly by racism. And most of you are normal mentally, so you've never had an obsession. It drives him crazy. He thinks of nothing else than that a black man won the Nobel Peace Prize. That drives him crazy every minute of every day. He doesn't care about any other Nobel Peace Prize winners, just the black man. He can't stand that. Every minute of every day he thinks about it. And he can't invalidate that. He has put out feelers. In the last 8 years, he has put out feelers to have that reward rescinded. And he knows he can't do it. So instead, he wants one of his own. Not so that he can say, I won the Nobel Peace Prize because I deserved it because I'm a peacemaker, but so that he can say, he's no better than I am. He got it and so did I. He's no better than I am. I was indicted and now so were they. Doesn't matter if the judge throws out the case because there's no legal grounding at all. It doesn't matter. I was indicted and so were they. So they're no better than I am. On the surface, that's what it looks like. And that's exactly how the lapdog, fascist-friendly U.S. mainstream media will portray any meeting between Trump and Zelensky over Thanksgiving. That's exactly how they'll portray it. But that is just the surface. What those two stories are really about is something that maybe you have to go back to the old New York Post days in the 90s to really see. What those two stories are really about is Trump in real estate. Trump made his name as an extremely shady and untrustworthy realtor in New York long before he was a reality star, long before he was a wannabe dictator in America. He was well known in New England and especially in New York as just the wrong kind of realtor. Just the wrong kind. His stupid lapdog press secretary will say, well, he's a builder. No, he's not. No, he's not at all. He's a junk bond builder. He's a junk bond realtor. And the key thing about Trump as a realtor in the 90s was that it's all fake. That it's all fake. There'll be a huge amount of buildup, a huge amount of well-orchestrated press stories, and a big ribbon cutting. But the property will be junk. It will be falling apart, and he won't care about it. God forbid you'll live there, you'll rent it maybe, and never actually live it because you've got a house somewhere that isn't falling apart for the prestige of living in a Trump Tower building or whatnot, and for a whole bunch of other reasons. In those days in the 1990s, those other reasons included the mob. They included the mafia. Nowadays, they include the international equivalent of the mafia. There's virtually no one who lives in a Trump building who is not indictable, severely indictable, either in the United States for economic reasons or at The Hague. So it's pretty much the same. And they don't care where they have places to live. They don't care. They're certainly not living in a Trump Tower building because it's well maintenanced, because it's well constructed, because anyone's ever going to answer any of your complaints about it literally falling down around your ears. No, he didn't care about that. He doesn't care about that. He cares about the setup and the press that reflects glowingly on him. And he doesn't care about the rest of it. That was, for 10 years, Donald Trump as a realtor. That's all anybody knew about him. And they knew that about him. They didn't know just that he was a realtor. They knew that he was not going to care about the follow-up, including paying anybody. He wasn't going to pay his contractors. He wasn't going to pay any electricians or anything like that, which meant if they knew that, then maybe they would do shoddy work on purpose. If we're going to lose money here, and we are, because he's not going to pay us, and if we insist, he's either going to bankrupt us in court or, again, the mafia. Since we know that, since we made the mistake of signing up here because he's a recognizable name and this is going to be a big glitzy property, and now we know from everything we've heard from everybody else that he's going to stiff us, well, let's do poor work then. Let's not spend top dollar. Everyone in New York knew that about him. And what you are seeing in Ukraine and Gaza is the international diplomatic equivalent of that. He only operates in one way. It's smash and grab for the highlight, no care about the follow-up. He does not care, and I'm sure he has not been told that the peace deal that he brokered in Gaza doesn't mean anything and was being violated while the ink was still wet. That the conditions in Gaza are exactly the same. No aid is being allowed in. Journalists are being shot because otherwise they will tell the world what's happening. And Palestinians are being buried in the rubble of the temporary relief shelters that they were told by the Israelis to go to. Nothing has changed. So it's a fake peace deal. It's a Trump peace deal where things are horrible after it. It's just you're not supposed to pay attention to it because you got your ribbon cutting. Same thing is going to happen with Ukraine. Same thing. Do you honestly think, regardless of how much you know about international politics, do you honestly think that when Trump forces Zelensky to give Russia all that it wants, it isn't going to want more? Vladimir Putin wants all of Ukraine. He doesn't want just one region or another. He wants all of Ukraine. Do you honestly think that's going to change? It isn't. The only difference is going to be that Trump will have had his ribbon cutting, so he won't care anymore. You might be able to ferret out the news from other sources, but you'll never get it from the mainstream media. He only cares about a big picture on the front of the New York Post so that he can have his publicist, John Barron, who sounds just like him, call in and praise him. That's all he cares about. I saw these things. Of course, my heart breaks for what's coming for Ukraine. It's conquest in literally all but name. And my heart breaks, but when I saw those two stories together in the news, that's all I realized right away. Oh my God, these are Trump real estate deals. This is exactly what he's done. actually, you could make a strong case that's what he's done in his presidency as well, since we are now going on the 10th year of him promising a health care plan next week. But that's what these two things are, certainly. These are a junk bond. He wants a junk bond Nobel Prize. So that is the world. And then we can move on to the United States. And because I'm bitterly old, of course, I want to talk about the weather. And the weather is that we have a storm that is growing bigger and bigger. There's a gigantic winter storm marching across the middle of this country, plunging temperatures and dousing lots and lots of people in snow and sleet. The weather forecasters, especially on YouTube, know that their entire bottom line, whether or not they're going to send their kids to private school, is based on clicks. It's based on eyeballs opening their videos. So they are lying about this storm quite a bit. I have watched probably 24 of those channels, and all 24 of them have said that this storm is going to hit New England. It is certainly not going to hit New England. Maybe the curve of it includes some of the middle states, the mid-Atlantic states. It won't hit Boston. It won't come anywhere near Boston. It won't come anywhere near New York. But still, it's going to be really big. It's going to bury lots and lots of towns in snow, and then freeze that snow in place with single-digit temperatures. And it's the whole width of the country. So that is your U.S. news. Because remember, we're going light this time around. And then for YouTube, there's a channel that I love. I have watched it from the beginning. Kurzgesagt. It's a science instructional channel with a very distinctive animated style. Probably a lot of you know it. But if you don't know it, you should. If you don't know this channel, you should. You should not only watch the video that I'm recommending, but bookmark them so that you can, subscribe to them. So that every time they make a video, they don't make nearly enough videos, but you could watch their back catalog, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. They shot to broader fame. They really went viral with a video that they did breaking down the realities of the human immune system and how it works. And they've done a couple of follow-ups to that. But they've done plenty of others as well that have gone viral. One about two, actually, about the Fermi paradox, where are all the aliens? But also another one that went mega viral about what the very last day of the dinosaurs was like, when the meteor struck, the Chicxulub meteor. That also is incredible. And lots of other stuff in their back catalog. You will love it. This latest one is weird, but it is a perfect example of how they do things. It's all about how strange trees are. How strange tree biology is. So much stranger than you thought. So much stranger than I knew. That I'll leave a link to it. I could not mention it because it's just incredible. And then for BookTube, easing our way back into Irish stew, I'm not going to recommend anything for BookTube. I'm going to give it a great big nope for this time around. Maybe tomorrow will be different. And then we'll move on to me. And once again, the follow-up to the nope is the mopes, because I just had a guest here. I had my friend Sam came over he will be my last guest of this year. He came over for just one night, had intensely bookish conversation, and then wine and calzones, and it was wonderful. And when a guest leaves, I get mopey. And I tried to resist that yesterday by going to the Brattle Bookshop first thing, by actually going out and doing something, instead of just wandering around here like a ghost, looking at the different parts of the rooms and whatnot. And it worked. I had a wonderful visit at the Brattle, and I made a wonderful chatty Brattle video for you about it. And I came back here, and I tended to my little bean, and we went on walks and whatnot. But the mopes still hung around, I noticed. They still hung around. They were still there in the background, and I am still feeling them. I'm not going to go back to the Brattle, so I'm just going to have to work my way through them. Literally, I'm not work through in the sense of psychotherapy, but work through them in the sense of just do stuff right until they go away. They will go away on their own. So that is the somewhat anticlimactic me section of the video. Is just that I'm still feeling a little mopey. But I'm sure that Irish stew videos later in the week will be more exciting. So I'll wrap this up, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.